in his group and managed to just get into the playoffs by defeating the young Buck Firefly, that 19-year-old up-and-comer. Silky, of course, a bit of an up-and-comer himself, I feel, even though he's been around a lot longer. It is like all relative in StarCraft 2, an esport that's been around for 10 years, an IP that's been around for 20. It is just, you know, when you've been playing for 3 years, it still feels like you're an up-and-comer, you know?
Yeah, I feel like he just only recently went like Super Saiyan and started to get mad good and get these results. And I think it's awesome that he's popped into the playoffs here, because that's how it all starts, to get more consistent success in your local scene and then hopefully be able to take the seed into the final event. But we'll see how we go. It's going to be, I do hope we go the full 5 games out of these guys.
Oh,
Obviously,
hell yeah.
a little bit of bias because we love our TVZ, but also it's great to get the full amount of games out of the players to see what they look like when they get to play their own match in a best of 3. Sometimes we see a bit of a bop 2-0, and while both players are really good, one doesn't really get to shine because they just got caught out by some builds.
I personally just want 5 games because I want to get the most out of this broadcast, Seth. You know, I've brushed my beard all nice, put some oils in there. I've tied my hair back all good. You know, I got a nice suit on. I just want to enjoy myself. It feels like I'm going out for some fine dining. You know, why would I go out there, got an entree, drink a glass of water, and leave? You know, I want a 3-course. I want a bottle of wine. I want to finish it off with a dessert and a nice glass of whiskey. You know what I'm saying? I want to savor this.
That's it. Otherwise, it'll be a very short broadcast. We've only got the 2 best of 5s tonight, folks. We will be broadcasting the next 2 nights as well to cover these games.
Zeph, it's Babby's first TVZ build. The 2-1-1. It's been a while.
Yeah, 2-on-1's still good.
Oh yeah, it is. I'm a believer. I'm a believer. A lot of people were hating on it, but I'm a believer.
Yeah. We don't see it that often. It's definitely fallen out of fashion a little bit, but maybe that's the beauty of it here, because you're not always expecting the 2-1-1 anymore, because it's not the default build. So if you're not careful, you can definitely get smacked around a little bit by that early stimmed bio. So Silky does have that overlord position near the side of the base there, so he can pop that in and hopefully get a scout in a little bit. Yeah, likewise, this Reaper trying to get a bit of look-see.
Yeah, I'm just getting a little bit of a scout here. Silky is making a lot more lings than you normally make at this phase of the game. So he's going to have ling speed finishing very shortly. That leads me to believe that he's going to try and attack into the natural of time after the Reaper phase is gone, just to try and overwhelm the small amount of Hellions you have at the start of the game for Terran. That's going to be at the cost of his drone count, obviously, at the cost of consistently producing queens. But, I mean, I am definitely a Terran that has felt the sting of more lings than I expect in the early game of ZVT.
And this is on brand for Silky so far with what we've seen, even against the Protoss players.
Lag? Oh, boy. Oh, one of the refs. Rip. Oh, that is unfortunate.
Not ideal.
It's not us, thankfully. I get that chill up my spine. I'm like, oh, God, no, please.
Yeah.
But, just one of the referees, not us at the moment. Gotta admit though, our ping to China is woefully terrible. It might be just a routing issue. You know, China is normally pretty self-insulated.
Yeah, and it looks like we're back in action. Hopefully we can avoid the lag. We had a bit of a laggy night last night as well.
We did a little bit.
But, you know, we've just got to take care of that and make sure the players have optimal playing conditions, even if that means we need to step out of the game. We have the luxury of a clean feed, so that makes things a little bit easier on us.
Still lag.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we might have to get the ref to leave.
Kick him out.
You never really want to lose a referee, just in case. But if it's lagging the game...
I thought we might have had 2 referees in here. It's just the one. Unfortunate. Yep. Sorry, folks. Just bear with us a moment. We'll try and give these guys a second to sort out the lag spikes here. Bit of an issue when it's the admin lagging.
Ref D, I think might actually... I mean, he's speaking Chinese, so might be a local.
Yeah, he'll be our admin for the players, I think, because your girl Zeph and your boy Maynard do not speak the local language, unfortunately, so we're not very useful in these scenarios.
As Australians, we only speak English, and like only 70% of it.
Yeah, we speak Bogan.
Well, actually, no, that's Zeph. To be fair, you're multilingual. You got your you got your Espanol. You got a little bit of that.
I mean, you're multilingual as well to an extent. I mean, my Spanish is a little bit
Like
broken.
in the very most technical sense, I know some stuff.
It's not even cool to be like bilingual anymore. You got to have like three
It's
or
just
four
expected,
to be
right?
interesting.
Yeah. I always feel jealous of Europeans with
I
their,
know.
well, a lot of Europeans can speak their native tongue as well as English, depending on where you go, just because you kind of learn it in school, right? And it's also, you learn it through TV. I know a lot of my my European relatives that are younger actually have learned English just from watching TV and having subtitles. Like it'll be dubbed in their local language, but the or it'll be international language, but it'll be subbed rather in their local language, and they've learned
That's
it
the
that
way to
way.
go.
Yeah,
It's immersion.
immersion. So I mean, Silky is aware now that the Overlord dies, which sucks, but the Overlord at least showed that there is a 2-1-1 coming. You don't make that many Marines to sit at home and just be like, well, just in case Lings attack me, I have Marines. This is for a drop. He knows. But at the moment, Silky's army consists of 24 Zerglings and 6 Queens. That does not beat this. I'm actually a little worried for Silky here. He's got no Banelings, no Roach Warren.
Well, Queens are pretty good in this defense, and the Marines
True.
stem in. They're going to start to step backwards quite quickly as the Lings come out. Now off creep, which makes the trade a little better for him. But he does have to back up there, and nicely handled by Silky.
Yeah, very nicely handled. Every now and then, I forget that the Queen's really good. Every now and then.
Yeah.
Got a lot
Especially
more
when
links
you have
coming out from
8.
Silky. Yes. 8 Queens is quite good. 8 Queens stops most things at the start of the game from Terran, including like battle cruisers, Hellions, that sort of thing, as long as they're in position.
Yeah, absolutely. And the other thing is that his creep spread can get really out of hand really fast if he's making that a focus of his play. Hasn't really done it too aggressively just yet, but of course he's been more focused on dealing with this double drop harassment from the 2-on-1 opener here. He's continuing to produce more Lings as he goes into the 1-1 and getting that Baneling nest. With the lair coming along as well, I expect to see a Spire come down and maybe start doing some harassment of his own. But for now, things are going pretty well for Silky. He's at 53 drones. He's kind of doing a bit of Ling and a bit of drone at the same time. We haven't seen him really power drone in any of his matches yet, up to like 70 or 80. He definitely likes to have a lot more units out on the map.
You are not wrong. We got a pretty nasty little attack here from Time. He doesn't quite have 1-1 yet, but Combat Shield and Stim obviously has kicked in for these Marines. They're a little bit tankier than earlier. When 1-1 done, these Marines are very deadly. Oh, that's a hatchery kill, no cancel. Big mistake there from Silky.
And Time very patiently engaging here. The Banes don't have speed, and there's only a couple of them, and now he's engaging just off creep there. The Lings and the Marines. Oh my goodness, so good of an engagement there for Time.
Yeah.
Really efficient. Medevac's starting to go down though.
Yeah, but 1-1's done, Zeph. And he's target firing all the Banes. Uh-oh.
Oh, no. Oh, wow.
Sometimes the 2-1-1 just be like that. It's an old build. Yeah, well, it looks like Silky's reinforcement Lings might be able to help out here. There's no more medevac support. The Marines are pretty deeply stimmed. But it's safe to say that that actually went very well for Time. Even though the Terran's been cleaned up, you're like, oh, the Zerg's fine here, right? The Zerg is on precisely 0 Queens right now. And again, no Banelings. They need to be replenished. The Lings are out. And the Terran's on 1-1 heading towards 2-2 with a third base up. Keep in mind that he also picked off that base to the south side for Silky. So this is actually looking great for Time at the moment, I feel. And Silky, I think he's just actually going straight Ling Bane here, Zeph. He started +2 Carapace, no Spire still.
Yeah, I kind of thought he'd go for the Spire, but he only just now got up to 66 drones. He's still not on a huge amount of gas. And yeah, some Zergs like to sit on the 2-2 lair tech for a while and really just overwhelm with a huge amount of ground army. Unfortunately for Silky, I feel like he's not in the greatest position. He did lose a lot in that last harassment, and now he's got to replenish that again because there's going to be another round from Time. He's probably going to try and look at clearing up some of the creep here as well when he catches wind of how far out it's getting. And this base again gonna get killed.
Yeah, Silky's not being quick on the button with that with those hatchery cancels, that's for sure. He is going to eject Time from the premises, but again loses his hatchery, so that is actually very, very nice for Time. Super worth it. Silky gearing up for a counterattack here. It's his first time on the other side of the map to be able to do some damage to the Terran. And Time lifts up Now, Time is really scary when he's got multiple medevacs in multiple spots, multitasking his opponent to death. Right now, Time has actually been consolidating everything into one big clump at the moment. Oh, catches the Banelings.
Yeah, really nice safe move out there for Time. Heading towards that fourth base, looking to build a CC there and catches that potential run by. And that's something that you definitely have to watch out for against Silky, because he's not afraid to run Lings around into your third, maybe Banes, natural main, anywhere that he can get in. That's when he's going to go for it, especially when you're pushing. Now he's going to come in for another attack here, looking for the cancel on that hatchery. That's a lot more Banelings in play this time.
It is indeed, but that Widow Mine just killed a ton of units. 16 units went down to that Widow Mine. It's like primarily Zerglings. Not many Banelings went down, but there's the moment here. This is where things are going to get scary for Silky. Time is one of the best at this multitasking medevac bio play.
Yep, and ooh, trying to fight Banes off of creep. Not too bad for Time. Does have to lift up again here for a second, but already picking off an Overlord up on the north side at the same time as dropping here on the right side. Mine's going to continue to be a bit of a pain for Silky as well. Makes this sort of defense a lot more difficult. And that mine whiffs a little bit on the lava there. These bio units going to be able to trade with the Lings a little bit before getting picked up again. And another drop now moving on into the main. One medevac goes down. Nice pick off for Silky, but he's still stuck on the defensive here.
He is indeed. He's doing an all right job defensively at the moment. He's planning to bleed out some drones right now. Just as I say that, it's just to compliment him. And also this Widow Mine with the armory done is still cloaked. Silky, don't think's thinking about it. He's going to lose some drones here for sure.
I'm not sure I even noticed it. And that's pretty nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
11 urines. And Time behind this has established his fourth base. He's looking really healthy with the economy, heading into the +3 attack, which is now halfway done, and just sticking with this biomine composition. So the pressure doesn't let up from here.
Certainly doesn't. It just keeps coming on there. Widow Mine. Oh, that's a great Widow Mine cluster there. Silky having a bit of a tough time trading well against the mines. He did one good Ling split earlier, but since then he has been taking giant blows to the face from these Widow Mines. Time hasn't started +3 armor just yet, so a little bit of mismacro there, but other than that, he is still piling on the pressure on the Zerg here. Silky's entire army is over here at the Resh Bisping base, and he's just way too late to react over here. He's going to lose that low ground fourth. Ugh.
Wow. Yeah, Time's just doing a brilliant job here. He's clearing up creep and pushing the Zerg back again and again, getting all of these hatchery kills. And another decent engagement here before he has to pick up a mine, trying to get a last-minute shot off there. Silky finally getting some damage done on the other side of the map, takes out 2 tanks and the sensor turret. Yeah, and gets out of there. So that's something in his favor at the moment, but he still hasn't really been able to slow Time down.
Yeah, I mean, the big problem here is that Silky is still on tier 2 tech. It's like a smattering of Ling, Bane, Muta, which is great. But he's down 50 army supply almost, and that is pretty devastating. This Time has got most of it right here on the front doorstep, and he's going to come in for the kill move. Oh, the Widow Mines trying to connect onto the Banelings, doesn't actually have it in range, so the Widow Mines connect with the Lings to the north side instead. The Muta's dealing with what remains on the ground as far as Marauders are concerned, but plenty of Marines left over after the dust settles. Not that many Banelings left, just 5 here from Silky. And the Marauders tank it. The Marines split well enough. I think Time can just continue the assault here. Silky starting his Ling production again. He's got 36 more Lings on the way. I think that's all of his lava, certainly all of his money. Is that enough to stop the bio? The answer is apparently no. Time takes game number 1.
Well played by Time there. Kind of textbook TVZ. Wasn't anything too wild. I mean, 2-1-1 isn't something that we see every day at the moment, but yeah, did the damage that he needed to, kept the pressure on the Zerg, and Silky was just never really able to recover. I think he only got Mutas out for like that last fight or two. So you're right about him being stuck on the lair tech there.
It felt like a weird time to get Mutas as well. Like with that kind of, you know, with the ZVT against a Bioterran like that, I feel like you can rely on Ling Bane for a very long time, as long as you're going up to Hive and eventually going to Ultras. You know, that style of just going Ling Bane up into Hive and then going into Ultra and potentially Vipers later on is definitely very viable. We see it a lot from a lot of very strong international Zergs as well as Korean Zergs. Feels like a build that kind of started in Korea for the most part, or rather a play style that started in Korea for the most part that kind of spread into different regions. Silky going for the Spire was like, it's an expensive tech choice. It also is a lot of money and lava going into units that aren't super powerful because you're on the defensive, right? You know, like this whole game, Silky had some Ling counterattacks. It was a beautiful mine, by the way. He had some Ling counterattacks, but you know, you were casting as if he got like a tank. He got 2 tanks, And tanks aren't even that useful. Yes, they're expensive. Yes, it's damage, but they're not that useful at this phase of the game when it's all about the Marines, Marauders, and the Widowmines.
Yeah, I mean, they were basically there to defend the third base, right? And then he killed those, but that means they kind of served their purpose. And he wasn't really able to get anything more done. And that was the only time we really got to see Silky get anywhere, kill anything with that backstab. Because the first attempt at it got picked off. And then he's in this situation pretty much the whole game where he's trying to defend against these bio pushes and deal with the mines. Maybe there's drops going on at the same time, and he just wasn't really able to recover. And I sort of wonder there if the decision to go for the mutas really late there was because he was thinking about the ultras initially and then went, I actually don't think I'll make it to that tech.
Yeah.
So maybe that's why he went for muta. But yeah, so hopefully something better for Silky in game number 2. But before we load into that map, we're going to take a quick break, and when we'll be back, it'll be the second map.
Body's moving slow, spinning in the afterglow. Got it feeling so good. 'Cause this love is all night. This love is alright. This love is all night. This love is alright. Breathe the air just like a fire, we can't control it. See explosions in the sky. Moving faster than the sun over the horizon. Chance it all to feel alive. Breathe the air just like a fire, we can't control it. See explosions in the sky. Moving faster than the sun over the horizon. Chance it all to feel alive. Body's moving slow, spinning in the afterglow, dancing till the daylight. 'Cause this love is all night. This love is alright.
G'day, mates. Welcome back to the Chinese main event here for DreamHack Summer. I'm Maynard. With me is Zeph. We are one game deep into our broadcast here for our 2 best of 5, starting off with Time and Silky, with Time, unsurprisingly, being 1 map up. The next battlefield here between these 2 heavyweights of the Chinese scene is Submarine, which has been a historically terrible map for Zerg against Terran. Now, Zeph, what do you think Silky does in this map? And if you guess correctly, I will air freight you a cookie.
Oh, I like that reward. I do think it's going to be aggression. I don't know what kind. Silky has been doing a lot of Ling aggression, especially towards naturals and thirds. We've seen it in his ZVPs. It crosses over into his ZVTs as well. I have to stick with the safe option of roaches, though. It's a bit predictable for this map, so don't know if we'll see it, but that's what I'm going with. So let's hop in and see what strategy he does choose and find out whether or not I get a cookie or if I'm going to be really sad and have to watch Maynard eat it in front of me instead.
Just saying aggression isn't good enough. I'm going to ask for a more direct guess here in a second, but let's introduce our players' guess. In the top left, up in the series at the moment, 1-0 up. He is the big boy Terran from China, Time.
And the blue Zerg in the bottom right, looking to put some points on the board there. It is Silky.
Not looking too silky in game one. Few bumps, couple of bumps. Hopefully, can iron them out for game two.
Yeah, I think his initial defense with the 2-1-1 opener was pretty good. It was just that second phase where he lost all 8 queens and infinity lings. I actually kind of couldn't believe my eyes there because you forget how strong upgraded marines are. So yeah, that's where it started to go really pear-shaped. But yeah, maybe this map will look a little different. Wouldn't mind another Banshee opener from Time here. I will, to your point about being more specific, I'll go with Roach Ravager off like a 3 base, but not saturating the 3 base. We'll see.
Connoisseur's choice of cheeses here for a shorter map. I like it.
Yeah, but that's the thing, right? Like, it's kind of obvious that a Zerg might try and pick it on the shorter map. So,
yeah,
I don't know if that's the move.
Breaking GG attempted it against Time in this map, if you remember.
Yeah.
But it is super, super denied usually by the Banshee. Well, a mixture of Banshee and just having a choke point and a good number of Hellions and keeping them alive. Because usually the Roaches are what busts through your wall in, but the Lings are what kill you. They're the ones that shred your SCVs and get into your production in your main base. Can split up and they're really, really fast and nibble things down really quickly. The Roaches and Ravages are kind of just like for biling down depots, biling down, tanks, that sort of thing. And you got to get those Hellions alive.
Yeah, so we'll get an initial poke in here. Maybe get a drone if he's super lucky, but it's usually pretty unusual. Yeah, it would be good to keep this Reaper alive and maybe pop back in later and just make sure that it's not something too wild coming out. But Time's been pretty confident in the games that we've seen from him so far, and rightfully so. Just playing it safe, making sure he's out on the map, keeping tabs on what's happening. Yeah, I mean, he's already got a Marine standing out there at the third base as well. And yeah, we'll see what his tech choice is going to be. Looks like just the usual Hellions for now.
Yeah, I like what Time's doing with this Marine here. He's just looking around and making sure that there's not like a cluster of Lings trying to hide and sneak on in. I think the Reaper knows that this is not a pull first build, just judging by the fact there aren't any Lings just yet. The timing of the hatchery, the timing of the Queen, the timing of the creep trimmers, or lack thereof. Speaking of which, interesting place to put that creep trimmer for Silky in the natural. He's just trying to shoot it down.
Oh, and he escapes again. Not quite early enough to deny the drone on that third base, though, but Silky is taking that now, and I'm just kind of watching his drone count here. He tends to sit a little bit lower than some Zergs, maybe in that 48 to 55 range most of the time. And, okay, so it is going to be that Cloak Banshee opener from Time again.
Yep, and he's getting a couple of Marines out as well, just to make sure that the Overlords can get beaten back. So I'm spreading up those Marines, not keeping them together, so... Usually just means he's trying to hide something in his main base, or, picking off Overlords is always nice, so it could just be that as well. Silky at the moment is looking very macro-focused. We got double Evo chamber, we got nothing but drones. It's looking a little bit less like an all-in Zeph and more like a regular game of StarCraft.
Yeah, I dig it. Going into double Evo for sure means, hey, I'm not planning to do anything just yet.
Yeah.
You want those upgrades to kick in, and you love to see it. I love the macro game, and Silky has definitely got the chops to roll with Time in one. We've seen him take Time out. We've seen him take XY or Shy. I'm actually not sure how you say it.
Yeah, 100%.
Out as well, and you can't really be a one-trick pony against strong Terrans like that. You can't always do the aggression. So yeah, this is pretty cool from Silky, and
Yeah.
I'm keen to see what that lair tech plan looks like, if it's going to be similar to the first game or if we might see mutas a bit earlier this time.
I feel like this map is I feel like this is one of those maps where you could skip the muta and again just flood Lingbane. Just because it is a little bit shorter. Mutas are, I feel like, a lot stronger on the bigger maps, but hey, I mean, they have utility. They'll definitely shut down things like Banshees and that sort of thing, which, you know, depending on how well these two Banshees do for time, it might force a Spire out of Silky if he gets frustrated with his defense of it. Because, you know, a good Terran will generally get a lot of damage with these double cloak Banshees because they will one-shot drones, just like so.
Yep. And of course, there's spores here, so that's how he's able to see those Banshees already. But nonetheless, the Banshees will manage to get some kills. They're going to deny mining on this gas completely for a little bit. And getting even a couple more drones as the Queens just slip out of position for a second.
Actually might force a Spire out of Silky. Just like, goddamn Banshees! Happens sometimes. So at the moment, these Queens and these Spore Crawlers are not cutting the mustard. The Baneling Nest just starts here for Silky. See, a lot of players at the moment like the Baneling Nest a little bit earlier. They like to go to Baneling Speed before they get any upgrades. No Carapace, no +1. They get that later. Baneling Speed is their first upgrade. But, well, I mean, after Link Speed, obviously. But the Baneling Speed is their first upgrade before anything from the Evo Chambers. Silky playing a little bit differently here. I like this mass expansion style where he's going for 2 hatcheries at a time here and a macro hatchery in the main base. So definitely trying to get a ton of lava up. But he is spreading himself potentially a lot, like pretty thin here, until that lava starts to stack up a bit more.
Well, given how much success he had securing bases in the last game, I do also like the extra expansions for that reason, because you can kind of afford to have to abandon one if that's the case. Queen's got to be a little bit careful there. They're going to need some friends to engage this, and that's a lot of lings.
Certainly is.
Positioning
That
on those
position.
Marines, though.
Yeah.
My gosh,
And Time is deliberately target firing the center mass of those lings as well to make sure his Marines aren't taking friendly fire. That was really nice target fire from Time. He actually took a very nice trade. Lost the tank, unfortunately, though.
Really well done, and still picking up drones here. I think you did call it, though, Maynard. He's sticking to just that lair style. Looking at his gas, he's still only on 3, so that's definitely not a muta-friendly amount of gas that you're making. That's mostly going to go towards your 2-2 upgrades and your banelings. And now this is a bigger push coming in. He's actually not quite prepared for this.
Yeah, I was going to say, speaking of which, on the Baneling front, he's morphing 6 right now, and that is 0 Banelings at the moment, turning into 6 without Baneling speed. So this army of Time is actually extremely deadly to a guy that primarily has Zerglings as the backbone of his defense here. Baneling speed is a long way off finishing.
Yeah, he's only just now started to get that extra gas income, and it's really difficult to engage this army. While it doesn't look that big, it does have 1-1, and it does have a siege tank behind it, and he's microing back. Great trade so far for Time, and Silky's struggling a little bit to clean this up.
You're not wrong. That tank is still alive, which is bad news for the Zerg as it continues to fire. Another center mass target fire from the tank. Oh, God, that was a little bit of a mismicro there from Time. He tried to target fire the Baneling, but move commanded into it a little bit there. So he lost some Marines, and that means that Time's going to have to try again in a minute. But keep in mind, the back of all this, Silky has been making nothing but Zerglings for quite a while. He's not been trading efficiently with those Zerglings either. The trades are woefully against the Zerg right now as far as resources loss goes. And Time is just ahead so much in army supply and ahead in workers, which is just unforgivable economically for the Zerg in this position.
Yeah, Time thinking about a 4th base already, which will put him on equal footing with Silky. And this is why I like that Silky double expanded, because he already lost 1 expansion. But man, he's making it so hard for him to keep a hold of these. That's through grass as well that you have to engage this. I like this counterattack, though. This could be really good.
Yeah, this is going to make things a little bit weirder here. Time's wall in, not complete. Bit of a mistake there from Time, and Silky capitalizing on it, causing havoc over at that 3rd base. Reinforcement Marines, though, in an SCV pool. He only loses 5. The 4th base also did not get killed. It got delayed somewhat. That's a very bold Baneling morph there from Silky. You know what, Zeph? Call me crazy. I wish those Baneling morphs were at home. It seems like a better place to morph Banelings. What do you think? Considering there's Marines, 2-2 upgrades, about to stim into his base.
Yeah, he's just... It wasn't enough to force Silky back or to lose any momentum here. I mean, Time, excuse me, because he's just continued to roll forward after taking out that base. The tank will finally go down, but these Marines are going to do a ton of damage in this mineral line before the Lings can clear them up. And oh my goodness, it's absolute carnage here.
This is that record scratch like, hi, my name's Silky. You might be wondering why I'm in this situation. A lot of it has to do with the fact that there aren't any banelings deflecting those Marines. Those Marines could literally just sit on creep in a choke point like they did just now and just take ling after ling after ling after ling. The trades are getting worse and worse here for Silky. He's insanely far behind. 47 workers against a 71 economy for the Terran with a 4th place on location, turning into a planetary. He's got good upgrades. He's got 2-2 upgrades, but you can see why Zergs are starting to prioritize baling speed and baling production in general over having 2-2 lings. Because the 2-2 upgrades are all well and good, but they are not doing him any favors right now against the bio army of time. It's just trading way too well.
Yeah, more tech coming into this army as well with more mines, Liberator sneaking in there as well. It's just going to make it even more difficult to engage. And look at what Time's done to the creep spread as well. It's just only around the bases that Silky has. This hatchery is just no contest, gets taken out. Nice win on the Liberator there for Silky, but that's not even his main concern at the moment. He's still not really been able to contest the army of time, nor has he been able to get much counter damage. The last run by, at the end of the day, only got 5 worker kills.
You're not wrong. A Ling counterattack here with a bunch of Mutalisks, but unfortunately it is just Lings and it's just Mutas, and these are Marines. Widowmine's burrow, and Silky is just going to tap out, realizing that he does not have an angle. Time. Defensively, he is locked up tighter than a snare drum, and Silky just isn't finding anything there. He's not getting any love. This has been a rough series so far for Silky.
Yeah, it stings a little bit. I was really channeling for Silky, and it's not over yet, but it's looking a bit dire. He hasn't really had any success, and I think that's what's scaring me for Silky here, is that we haven't seen a moment where Time was made to sweat or to panic or make a bad decision. He's just been very straightforward, executing his build, executing his pushes one after the other, keeping up the harassment and creep clearing, and purely by taking good trades and denying the hatcheries, he's been able to basically force Silky into a position where he can never catch up.
Yeah, I mean, this is the one moment where I was like, oh, yeah, go Silky. I was cheering for him. You know, I actually am not, biased against anyone here. I'm trying to stay non-biased, but it's like, I'm just calling it as I see it. And there is, apart from this moment here, and that weird Baneling morph, which I think might actually be a hotkey error. I think maybe all these Lings are hotkeyed, and he's trying to morph Banelings because the Terran's attacking him. There is no reason for Silky not be making Banelings right now. He absolutely needs them, and that felt like a very big mistake, a critical error there. That was his only chance to stop these Marines.
He was already too far gone by this point. Even if he had cleaned that up, he's still stuck on 3 base versus 4 base Terran at that point. And it's just too much from Time there, who was sitting on 71 SCVs very comfortably and adding all the tech under the sun in. He was also on his way to +3 attack, which is where things get even stickier for the Zerg. So, Time's looking really clean. This is why he dominates the scene.
Yeah, I mean, certainly has been dominant in this series so far. He's really taking Silky through the ringer at the moment, but we're going to hopefully see a more solid game. We've got Death Aura coming up, which is another one of those maps that I feel like all-ins are a little bit more doable for the Zerg. You know, the Roach Ravager attacks, a little bit more doable. You have a lot of high ground that you can try and take away from the Terran if you can muscle your way up there, split off the natural in the 3rd or potential 3rd, and have you're not fighting up a ramp really, you know, because you have that high ground area in the natural, which we'll talk about if it becomes relevant. But so far, Silky not finding any love in this series. Of course, he does still have 1 life left, and if he does lose this series, don't worry, Silky fans, he'll be in the losers bracket. He'll still have 1 more series, and that is going to be best of 5 as well down there against the loser of Maxed and Cyan. So this means he'll have to play as EVP. We did see him defeat Firefly, who's a very solid player, so obviously his EVP is doable. But Maxed and Cyan have already given Silky a bit of a rough time.
Yeah, but I guess if you've already played some series against those guys, you have a chance to reassess, as you mentioned earlier, because of the long tournament format and the way that it's spread out over multiple days, you get a little bit of time to adjust in between, which is probably good to help each player be the best that they can be on the day. But yeah, let's not count Silky out just yet. Game number 3 might be the one that turns it around and turns it into a bit more of a series here. At least I hope it does.
Me too.
But yeah, he's going to need some channeling from you Zerg fans out there, because it's been pretty rough so far. And unfortunately, I feel like the head-to-head stats that we saw with the 20% wins to the 80% are ringing a little truer at the moment in this series.
It's looking like it so far, but you know what? I'm also going to be cheering for Silky in this series because I want more games of StarCraft, Zeph. I'm a fan of the 5th game and of best of 5, so we want to see nothing but Zerg wins for the next couple at least before we get to Game 5. We want more games. Let's get into it, guys. Death Aura is potentially the final map, but we're hoping not. In the bottom right, send him your energy. The red Zerg from China. He is Silky.
And our one Terran since the top 8. He's on match point. This is Time.
And you know what? This one Terran in the top 8 might be the top 1 when the dust settles and all the games are finished for this Chinese event, because he is just looking so good.
Yeah, I kind of love that storyline though as well. Just being the only Terran in the region, making it through the group stages and into the playoffs. It's good for Terran fans. But yeah, it's good to also see people give him a bit of a run for his money. I would love to see a rematch between Time and Cyan. I think that would be a really cool best of 5 as well. But we'll have to wait and see if we're blessed with that or not.
I'm cheering for it. We want more. We want some Silky wins here. We want to get to the later stages. Ice and Chrome right at the end. So definitely a map that I think that Silky would be a little more comfortable on if we get there. It's a big if though. Time has really just slapped him back. It's like it's been unfortunate, man. Like a lot of the stronger moments for the Zerg are, I feel like, in the later part of the game when you get to Hive and that sort of thing, especially when you're up against a Bio Terran, which you know that Time is generally going to play. Dealing with Bio with Hive Tech, you've got your, you got your Ultras, you got your potentially Infestors, Vipers, that sort of thing, to be able to Blinding Cloud down tanks, that sort of thing. Potentially Lurkers as well, which is something that you don't see a lot of Zergs go for, but can be really effective against late game Terran. And we aren't even seeing it get there. You know, Time, Silky hasn't even had the freedom to go for an Infestation Pit in tier 3. This Time's just basically ending it before that point. What is Drone doing here?
What is Drone?
What is Drone?
Why? Okay.
That was scouted by the SCV, by the way.
Yeah.
So.
Well, the drone was, the hatchery wasn't, but yeah, I'm a little bit question mark right now. But yeah, okay, we'll see where he's going with this. Could make him sweat a little bit, I guess, if he didn't really pay attention to that drone, doesn't think to check there, being like, hold on, why are you on 2 base? Is there roaches coming or something? But he does get in here again, and he's going to be able to confirm that there's nothing odd going on. So that should flag that there's probably a hatchery just in a bit of a weird spot here. Oh, okay.
And Silky starts 16 Zerglings, Zeph. We're going to see a little bit of a Flutterino. And there's that Roach Warren. Oh, yeah, Silky, give it to me. This is what I wanted. This is what I wanted. This is a good map for it.
Yeah. I guess the cool thing from here is if he does enough damage but doesn't quite kill him, he does have that 3rd base to fall back on that Time is not necessarily going to be aware of. Looks like this Reaper will just barely not make it.
Oh, actually, maybe. Thank you, Hellions.
Unreal.
Oh, my goodness. That Reaper
one grateful
flirting
Reaper
with the devil. I mean, it ain't over yet. Not until the fat lady sings. We got ourselves a cluster of Lings here on the right side, biding their time. There's only 4 Hellions so far. This is the normal amount of Lings that would normally come in right now. Silky hiding the abnormal amount with 7 Roaches coming in behind. Time started up a Liberator as well. Oh, you know what? This might work here, Zeph. There is no tech lab for that starport. He's busy making a lib. That means no Banshees. Not even the chance of a Banshee here to deal with these Roaches. At least the first wave. Oh, he's making a 3rd CC. Oh, Silky's going to be happy to see this.
Yeah, this could get pretty rough for Time in a second. The Liberator's not the worst. The problem is that it can get biled down. And you also have to constantly reposition it to keep doing damage once he's out of this sort of one area trying to come into this choke. So a few Marines out the front here. The Hellions are coming out, and they may just spot this, which will give Time a bit of warning. There we go. And that's really, really important. As much warning as you can get. And there we go. Yes, bunkers down straight away. Liberator sets up on the front lines there. He's got a Viking. That can be used for the defense as well if he's really needing the extra firepower. Well, let's see how this goes for Silky. He's starting to knock on the front door here.
He's knocking pretty hard. Oh, that Liberator going to pick off one Roach there. He's going to try and bile it down. Time with the Unsiege. Dodges the biles, but the Lings are in. The bunkers aren't ready yet. The one on the left looks like it might finish. Silky is biling down this Lib, but the Lib has done a good counter damage there to the Roaches and Ravagers. Plenty of Lings left over. The SCV starting to die in droves. Is there enough firepower here from the Zerg? It looks pretty good. Yes, it is. Silky gets a point on the board. No 3-0. Hell yeah.
Yeah, awesome move there. I really like that, actually. I wasn't expecting that out of him, but it keeps him in the series here. And that was a rough attack. My goodness, that was like infinity units before the 5-minute mark. So too much for time to handle. And that means that Silky is going to survive at least one more map here.
This is how you defeat time here, as Silky. Get weird, get crazy, do stuff that's unexpected, but still practiced. You know, stuff that he's comfortable with. These aggressive plays, these all-ins. Yes, time might expect aggression, but there's different reactions to different kinds of aggression. Keep him guessing. You know, make him look at the left hand while you pull a right. Throw the gloves off and turn it into a mud wrestle. That is how you defeat time here. Playing the regular game, playing the regular, you know, defensive, reactive Zerg game against time clearly is not the answer after game 1 and game 2. Time too strong in that kind of game. Bring him down to your level. I love that game there from Silky. And by that, no, I don't mean bring down to level as in like, you know, one player is a different level than the other, even though they kind of are. I just mean in the sense that you turn it into a scrap. You turn it, you know, if a player or a fighter has more reach in the, you know, the MMA scene, you bring them down to the ground, you grapple them, you take them down. And that's what I want to see from Silky. So I've already got a smile on my doll. I'm so happy we got an extra map here. We're going to at least game 4. Hopefully we can tie it up and get to the ace match. We'll take a short break. When we return, game 4 between Silky and time. We'll see you then.
But you know I caught your bluff. Now you are the victim, stop, I had enough. Cruising on the joyride, light heart, I feel free. You're out of the picture, c'est la vie. C'est la vie. Boy, c'est la vie. Down, c'est la vie. Boy.
Didn't even cross my mind any day could ever be this fine. There couldn't be a better time. All that I can see is sunshine. Oh, lazy hours come and go. Watch them as they're passing so slow. Nothing left I need to know. Just standing here to feel the wind blow. Feel it in the morning, feel it in the evening, feel it in the dark night too. Floating in an ocean, sweet harmonic motion. Hope that you can feel it too. Didn't even cross my mind any day could ever be this fine. Couldn't be a better time. All that I can see is sunshine. Oh,
G'day, StarCraft fans. Welcome back to the Chinese main event here for DreamHack Summer. I'm Maynard. With me is Zeph. And you know what? That's going to continue to be the case because it's just you and me, Zeph, for the rest of this evening. Could potentially be a shorter evening depending on how the next series goes, but this series certainly got extended by at least one more map, as Silky managed to do a counter blow to time there. No flawless victories here for this Terran, or a victory indeed. Maybe Silky wins the next two and spins all our heads around. What do you think?
Ooh, I think it's still a tough ask, but I would absolutely love to see that upset. That would be an amazing storyline for Silky. And, you know, he's been able to beat the man before, so I suppose that is a definite possibility here. But to find out whether or not that's going to happen, we'll have to hop into game number 4. We've loaded into the map. And we'll soon find out what these players are going to be whipping out for this 4th map on Pillars of Gold. In the bottom left, spawning in the blue, this is Time.
And in the top right here, off the back of a map win here, can he get 2 in a row and take it to the ace match? He is Silky. Zeph,
Maynard.
for a second cookie.
We've already lost
What
the
is-
first cookie.
For a second shot at that first cookie. What does Silky do in this game?
I was just trying to ask myself that question.
Me too.
I don't know. I feel like it's not a bad map for... do I think that? It's not the worst map if you want to be aggressive. That third base location, if you take the one out to, I guess, Time's right instead of the front. Even in the front one, it's fairly exposed. There's a lot of pathways into that area, and that
Zeph.
might work to Silky's advantage.
Both of Silky's third bases are to Time's right.
I mean, I guess, yeah, okay, fair point. I meant like kind of above the main versus out towards the middle of the map. Then does that clear things up for you, Maynard?
Ever so slightly. I think I'm eating what are you cooking. I think I'm smelling what you're stepping in. Like, I think we got there and we're on the same page. I'm picking up what you're putting down. You're saying
I don't know.
that so if Silky takes the base that's further to the right here and not at 12 o'clock, if he takes like the 2 o'clock base here.
I'm just looking at how the thirds are kind of more open and there's a place to push there, right? But in terms of Silky's aggression, it tends to be small ling stabs unless he's doing a big roach attack, in which case it arrives at the natural, which I think is not too bad for defending here as a Terran. So maybe just a more standard game. I don't know if you want to risk it all on a big push on match point again.
I mean, if you got anything nasty, specifically designed for these medium-sized rush distance maps like we saw on Death Aura, similar rush distance on Death Aura, of course, no speedy zones on Pillars of Gold. If you have something specially designed for that kind of map length, I think no sense in sitting on it. Hopefully Silky has something a little bit more wild. I think if he does the same thing again, you know, like part of the reason why that went so well for Silky is that Time decided to go for the Liberator. If he went straight into Tech Lab and had a Banshee out, it may have potentially looked a little bit different. But also Time looked like he had a little bit of a confusion there from that drone sort of running past his SCV. Maybe he saw it, but he didn't see it, if you know what I mean. Like he saw it, but he wasn't looking at his SCV or the mini map at the moment when the drone went over to the left. So he wasn't expecting, quite that much lava to come out there of the Zerg. Like, you know, you expect when you see a 2-base Zerg, okay, probably roaches here, right? But you don't expect 3 hatcheries worth of lava when you don't see that 3rd hatchery, which is, you know, again, when you roach Ravager bust like that, the roaches and Ravagers break the hole open and the lings are what actually murder you. So it's that flood of the speedy boys getting in there and just ripping everything to pieces.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Well, already he's going for a much quicker lair in this game. There's a 3rd base coming down now.
Oh, yeah.
Baneling Nest on the way as well. So he is switching it up. The other kind of wild thing I've seen Silky do in ZVT is go with his normal sort of double Evo upgrade style, but then he goes up into lair and gets double Spire, which I thought was very unique and very gas intensive. I think that might be a better option for something like Ice and Chrome, where you've got a bit more room to move. So hopefully we get to that map and we might see yet another strategy come out for Silky. But yeah, at the moment, just going for that quick Spire play. Going to have to deal with these Hellions. He's got the Queens for that. He's got a few Lings out as well. So it should be okay.
I like the idea of a really quick Spire here, and I love that he's getting Baneling speed immediately as well. So this is something I've seen a little bit from some of the Korean Zergs, where they go for, you know, just a little bit of air dominance, try and swing Pyre with like half a dozen mutas, and do some SCV damage, try and keep the drops pinned back, and then get those Banelings nice and speedy on creep to defend against the bio counterattack, which usually happens as a result. So I actually really, really like this choice from Silky. It comes down to execution, of course, though, as most things in StarCraft do.
Yeah, but he's just going to keep being a bother here at the third base with those Hellions, and the Liberator finally swings in here, but the Queens are already ready to go. Might get 1 or 2 drone kills. But, oh, the Hellions actually taking this opportunity to slide on in here. They're actually going to run into all the Queens and a few Lings, so not that many drone kills, only 4, and that's a big loss for time.
That was actually a very nice hold there for Silky. Time did not trade there at all. The only plus side for Time is that he saw the Spire with the Hellions. Just the edge of it. So he is paying attention. He's going to probably keep some of that bio at home, not load up everything and go across the map with it, just because he knows that the Mutts are very close to coming out and being on his side of the map. So they're not too far away now. So the Spire, when he went past with the Hellions, it was done.
Yes, indeed. And a lot of Lings out on the map, so he's going to be able to have good vision of what Time is doing and where he's moving, if he's taking a third base, if he's deciding to push. And that also provides him the opportunity to run in and do a whole lot of damage at once. And so actually morphing Banes here with the mutas, yeah.
This is wild.
Big attack.
Wow. Okay, so trying to bust a 2-base Terran here with Ling Bane. It feels very, like, unlikely to work because Time knows about the Spire. He's left everything at home. There are multiple high ground tanks here.
I feel like he was waiting there to, well, yeah, now he sees that there's no drones, so that's a big tell. I thought maybe Silky's waiting for him to move out with everything and take that third, because that would be the one moment that he's not set up. And then if you can crash through everything there, then Time might just kind of keel over and die. But he's now seen that there's no drones there, and he knows that if he holds on here, he'll be in a good economic position, able to produce 3 CCs worth of SCVs. Tricky part is actually moving out without getting caught.
Yeah, Time sent the medevac forward, just look for Ling Bane. He missed it, though, and he thinks that the ground army's not coming. And this might fall to his error here. Because there is a lot of Ling Bane. He doesn't see it. Oh my god.
Oh, he's off creep. The tank line is pretty deep here. The Marines have got a lot of room to move back into the natural base. But is it too much? The Banelings still reaching these Marines. Only a couple left here. Another tank comes out. The Vikings still doing its best against the mutas. But is this enough for Silky? Where's the reinforcements?
And we got a lot more Lings flooding into the natural here. And Silky just trying to capitalize on a moment of greatness. The tank being mass repaired here by the SCVs. The tank is firing back on the Lings. Keep in mind that Silky is doing this on a really low drone count, so it has to do a lot more damage than this. The third base of Time is still alive. He hasn't actually done any damage other than trade against the army of Time. The economy of Time is still mostly fine. Only lost 4 SCVs. Still up. 9 workers on the Zerg. So Silky needs to do way more than this.
He does, yeah. He lost a lot there. Time handled that pretty well. He moved out very slowly. Don't forget, Silky's also engaging off creep there, so things aren't quite as smooth as you'd usually hope in an engagement against the Terran. Now, he's going to keep pressing the issue here and forcing Time back. He's trying to stop him from actually establishing that third base while he himself goes back to droning behind. He's actually getting burrow.
I like it. You know, he is behind a little bit right now. And if you can get a really good burrowed Baneling mine, then, you know, we know that Time loves his Marines. He doesn't really throw in Marauders until he feels like he absolutely has to. So you get a good burrowed Baneling bomb on a cluster of Marines, then things can just swing your way all of a sudden. I like the choice.
Yeah, it's not something that we're treated to very often, so definitely keen for that. And we see that it's going to be a big muta investment as well, with that +1 on the air coming in on top for those mutas. And he's still looking for bits and pieces to pick off. Hasn't had too much luck yet. This isn't the most airspace friendly map. It's more when the Terran starts taking more bases, I feel, that you get a few more opportunities, unless you want to swing around the left side of the map and go straight into the main, in which case you can grab some add-ons or some units popping out. It looks like Silky is still trying to get something done here on the front lines. He's really not afraid of being out here in the middle of the map, aggressing on off of creep.
Yeah. Oh, he pulls back there, giving himself a couple Baneling mines right there on one of the attack paths. It's a popular attack path for Terran because they like to attack into that hatchery where the third is. Speaking of which, we got a rotation here. There's not that many, and there's not enough Marines over here to stop all these units. So a potential opening. And yeah, this is a great usage of Burrow here for Silky. As long as he's on the ball, he could actually get a really good cluster of Marines here with these bombs.
Yeah, especially if he doesn't have prior notice of the burrow or doesn't catch a couple popping into the ground there. Definitely could be a really cool way to get some massive hits, and I sure hope that we see at least one Baneling bomb go off, or I'm going to be so sad. However, it looks like Time is maybe starting to think about doing some harassment. He's got a squad of Marines coming out here with a couple of medevacs. Might swing around and pop into the mineral line. The mutas are on the other side of the map at the moment, so... Oh, so close.
So close! Oh, the scan misses the Burrowed Banes as well! This is Silky's moment.
Oh, no!
Boom! Got him. Lovely. Now, that's going to tip Time's hand here. He's going to be scanning a lot more on the map, obviously. But, ooh, a cluster of Marines over here. Silky's army is on the other side of the map. It's going to come all the way home.
Oh,
this hatchery's dead.
Target that hatchery. Yeah, he can't save that.
Wow.
Nice. Very nicely picked off by Time, knocking the Zerg back to 3 bases, and the third base is now in a really weird position. It's not the one you'd usually want. Mutas and Lings will come in here and clean this double drop up in revenge. However, this buys time for Time to actually, move across the map into a better position to pressure the next base.
Zeph's correct. It does buy time for Time to hit this timing attack so that Time can basically make as little time as possible for Silky.
Thanks, Maynard.
Ooh, all right. Huge Ling flood there, and that third base is absolutely forfeit. That's super, super, super dead. But Time is on the other side of the map with an army that is absolutely better than the Zerg's army. Can Silky do damage here as well as survive back at home is the big question here as far as this game's concerned. And at the moment, it feels like Time is in a bit of a better spot.
Yeah, he's having a bit of trouble cleaning this up, though, and this is the strength of this Mutal Lynx heavy style, is that you just counterattack. You can avoid engaging the Terran, and you end up in these weird, chaotic situations where neither player is really able to fully clean the other person's army up. And here we've just mostly got Mutas left, and Time's actually going to go straight for the main base.
He is. He just lost a lot of Marines in the main base there. Obviously, the army supply of Time is a lot bigger than the Zergs. Silky definitely did a ton of SCV damage here, and there's a lot more SCVs about to die. Now, while there are a lot more drones for Silky right now, we just saw them. They are on Exodus right now, heading to the top left map, so they're not actually mining. The income is still bigger for Times, even though he has 30 less workers, because he's actually mining still.
The only other thing is that Time's production is in shambles at this point. There's not a lot of stuff able to come out here. He's got a mine. He managed to get a Thor there, which is really,
it's
really
going to be
helpful.
a good mine. Oh, good split from Silky for the most part there. Gets the Thor. Lings still survive. He's on the production of the Terran. Oh, wait, this is just a full base race. It's an actual base race.
Silky could do it like this. I feel like he's got a little bit more to kill, though, than his opponent does. Time is deep in Zerg territory. He's taking out the last, second last hatchery, as one has been taken down towards Time's old third base location. A lot of the buildings trying to float over to the planetary where some missile turrets are being built as well. And
yeah, that's leaving me to believe that I think Silky will not be winning the space race, Seth, because how do you break a 4-turret planetary here with Time having a much bigger army? Like, Silky cannot engage this army. If Silky engages that army, he's dead. But his only choice here is to base race the Terran, and he is carving through the Terran's infrastructure, but there's a lot more left. And the Zerg pretty much just has this one hatchery at the moment. They have a Spire as well in the natural that's bleeding out, and a couple extractors as well as this hatchery. So that's all the structures of the Zerg.
yeah, he comes in and considers that Terran army for a second, but realizes it's going to be a little too hard to engage. In fact, he's actually going for it. I don't know about that.
I think he's trying to bait the Marines into these Baneling mines, but Didn't work out for him. In fact, the Baneling's getting unburrowed and pulled back out of the fight, get picked off there in the end. And Silky's just going to tap. Time making the plays there. It got weird. That's what we wanted from Silky.